Travel the motherfucking universes and the galaxies of this motherfucker. That's right. Flight boss, bitch. You know, for sure. You're now listening to the Mind of an Terry's Moon. I'm the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God's duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, we're going to talk about what is Revelations. That's right. What is Revelations? So before we break this down, you know how we got to do. But the astral travel on this motherfucker. You're now rocking with the Archangel Uriel. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to be breaking it down from a spiritual nature and a religious aspect so I can bring these two together so we can fully understand this in a totality. You know what I'm saying? What is a revelation? So, you know, the religious aspect will be revelation from a larger standpoint. The spiritual revelation aspect will be from a singularity aspect, from your point of view. So, what is a revelation? Now, if you ask me, I would say, yeah, what is a revelation? Because you're a version. You're not the version. You see what I'm saying? So you're a version. So this kind of gives you the concept that there's many revelations. You see what I'm saying? So the religious aspect try to give you an example of the Big Bang one, the big event revelation, and the spiritual nature is trying to give you your own revelation. So what does this mean? What is a revelation? A revelation is like something you may have been unaware of. You may have been in the dark. You may have thought it was true, but it's really false. The moment you figure out about it, you realize about it, you have a revelation. And 9 times out of 10, this revelation kind of emotionally affect you in a way that it kind of change your perspective of something. So that's when you have a revelation. So when you have a spiritual revelation, you having your own revelation. You see what I'm saying? A religious revelation would be something that we all go through. So since you know you are a smaller version within a larger version of something, that lets you know how to separate it. So anytime you figure out something and it kind of emotionally change you in some way, shape, or form. So that can go through many different realms of realities. You know what I'm saying? And play out through many different shapes and forms. It could be things that's relative to you, your relatives, things you relate to, rotations, rotating, responsibilities. Anytime those type of things play out in a shape and form and go through a change, that's a revelation. Now, check this out. Now, when you think about a revelation, what it actually is a shift of consciousness. It's a conscious shift. Now, I know many of y'all may have heard these terms before. But what actually is it? Now, a conscious shift is when the space and the location you are in, along with the group of lights or solar system or whatever you want to call it, has traveled and moved into a different space and location. That's when you hear things like the age of Aquarius or things of that nature. But it's just a conscious shift. This group of lights and the space that we are in have moved to another location. So here's how you understand that. What is light? Light is life. Light is information. Life is life. You see what I'm saying? So light is consciousness. So when you got a group of lights aligning and coming together in some type of alignment in some type of way, they create an orb in the middle. And that orb in the middle is impacted with all that light, all that information, all that life. So the more energy put on to that light, the more that light could appear to be solid or appear to be physical. And us as spirits go into these realms of realities and create shapes and forms for ourselves out of that makeup, imagination, and magic in order to be aware of ourselves through that astral travel. Then once that vibration expires, we leave that body as a spirit and go into another realm of reality that might not even involve the same type of existences. You see what I'm saying? So that's even why a lot of people wonder why I call homeboy the wise faggot spirit and shit like that, because he don't quite understand. And this is for all religious people. He a religious person also, even if he don't think he is. This is for all religious people. For the most part, anytime you are worshiping the light or worshiping the life, all that is correlated to the malefic energy. the pushing out, the falsely to be accused, that's positive energy. The male energy, the masculine energy, the external energy. So it's actually the Lucifer energy, the second coming. It's the light energy. Anything tied up under love, light, law, language, lords, all that. So in some way, shape, or form, these people always try to tie the spirit to something physical because they're lost in the light. So it's been going for ages. You have people calling the spirit air, people calling it water, then they call the spirit the light, and then you got the homeboy faggot spirit and shit calling whatever he calling the spirit. So you know, in some way, shape, or form, the words and the things that they use construct them in a way that they can't perceive. So you know what I'm saying, no matter how they try to deflect it, just the words that they use is no way out of this. You worship the second coming. You worship the male figure. You worship, so the spirit has to come from a male or masculine energy in some way, shape, or form in their outlook, because they are lost in the physical and the blind and in the light. Now let me tell you like this. Now here's where the ancients got it wrong also, when they say the spirit is the breath. Now they kind of got it right, but here's where the ancients got it wrong. See, breath is just a lighter body in this realm of reality. Us as spirits, frequency, vibrations, we create things that mimic the spirit. So we create the energy realm, and the energy realm is the conscious, things from non-physical to physical. So we create those patterns in order to experience things in time. So for the most part, when you look at a scenario where how they looked at spirits being the breath. Here's the thing. In this realm of reality, breath, air, is the lightest shape and form that a spirit can inhabit. Now, the lighter the body, the more the spirit can mimic it. You see what I'm saying? So for the most part, that's how spirits can travel in this realm. Through the breath. But breath is like air. You know what I'm saying? It's one of the first lightest bodies we create, one of the first shapes and forms that we can inhabit to go in and start to create other layers for ourselves. So it's like a light body. So even though they was kind of pointing to the right thing, that's where they may have got it wrong. But you know, the spirit is no thing, no shape and form. And it has to take light forms and experience that realm of reality, die, be birthed, which is nothing more but transform. Spirit leave that shape and form, but through that experience, it gained enough information on the spirit to create another shape and form through the astral travel. And that's when it comes down into levels of lives. You see what I'm saying? And it's coming down. This is where you get that demon or demon urge concept from. So, you know, anytime you're going into hell, that's when you're going into the concept of being emotionally attached to external things. So think about all the things that's in the lie. If things lie, sound, light, gas, once it starts, it can't stop. You see what I'm saying? So, so for the most part, think about all the things you have learned in that information of lights. All the logic, all the spiritual systems you have learned, all the things. Now, the more things you learn, now the more you get emotionally attached to these things, that's like adding external light to your inner light. So you're not getting enlightened, you're getting blinded by external light. So it slows your spirit down. Because like I said, light plays like a prism, like a prison. You know what I'm saying? So, and the more light, more information, more energy, the more it's vibrating, and that's the lower, and the slower it's vibrating to it can appear to be solid. And you will remain as a spirit in that form of information, in that form of shapes and forms, until you go into a shape and form that's so holistic, you say fuck everything, and you may even kill yourself after those thousands and thousands of years and vessels you have went through here to show everybody you tired of being in this holistic imagination. But for the most part, that's how these spirits will teach you. But before we even get into that, you know, that's when you're in actual hell. So get that through your actual mind. When you're in actual hell is when you're getting emotionally attached to the outside lights that have been given to you. And lights is information, logic, law, language, lords, love, all these things. So you have to make sure you're deciphering these things between the two, between your own spiritual nature and with things that's needed to help yourself feel comfortable while you're in this astral travel, so you don't go insane. Now, for the most part, a revelation is nothing more, nothing less but a shift of consciousness. Now, the last conscious shift was 2012. So, you see what I'm saying? In a religious aspect, you can look at it like if all the lords and gods came and saved everybody that was supposed to be saved to come to heaven, that will be the people you look at now as free. People who are not emotionally attached to the old concepts, the old lords, the old government, the old lights, the old information, the old shift. Now, people that play as an example of someone who have missed the shift or who didn't make revelation and they're still down here amongst with the demons. These are people who are still emotionally attached to old ideas, old concepts, old feelings and emotions, and then they find themselves being in stressful scenarios trying to express this to others. It seems like there's no hope to get across to others because those old lights, informations, or those old lords are losing power, and they're no longer in a space where those lights was aligning and emitting in an effective way that they could take shape and form in that vibration, that spirits. So you see what I'm saying? So a lot of them may attack you and keep you in the same pattern, keep you in the same rotation. So when everyone else is mentally shifting, you're still in hell. But you need to understand, we're all on the same playing field. You could be in hell next to a person who's in heaven. You know what I'm saying? But that just proves that we're all spirits, and what you choose to be aware of this experience and how you choose to experience this experience is on you. You could choose to experience heaven or you could choose to experience hell. But once you get lost into a specific spirit coming to teach you on what they telling you hell is, right? And then they make you think where you're going is a heaven, where you're really going to the same place, but this is what you're not understanding, right? Whatever the spirit have told you, this is what you need to understand, right? Anytime you're doing the same thing in routine, repetition, a pattern, over and over and over again, that's a form of hell. Now we can look at it from a physical manifestation of it. When you go to work every day, over and over and over again, it feels like hell. You say to yourself, you leaving the slave ship. You say to yourself, man, this is hell. When you in jail, every day, you in hell. When you in a frustrated relationship, every day, that's hell, right? Now look at that as a spiritual nature. When you got other spirits out here making you do certain things to put you in spiritual repetition over and over and again, that's a form of hell. So I don't care how pretty this spirit that made you think this hell looks. I don't care how pretty and how much of a heaven the spirit that made you think of it. At the end of the day, your spirit is going to come to the conclusion in some way, shape, or form to be like, God damn, I need to escape this. This is the reason why you are in the body right now. So even if you are religious, don't even argue with me, because why you in a body right now then? And why you feel the need to get saved right now? Don't say you did this. You need to take responsibility for your spiritual nature. So for the most part, you know what I'm saying, that's when it comes down to missing the shift and still being in hell, and you're being clobbered and being slaughtered and having to feel guilty about something, and having to feel persecuted, and having to feel saved, and having to cast your demons, having to cast the world that you in onto others who ain't in that world. You have to understand though, that's just a mental concept that you are in, that some other spirit didn't put you in. Or you wouldn't even have those feelings and emotions and vibrations anyway. As Archangel Uriel, I'm the most neutral that you could ever come across. You see what I'm saying? Now, when we're talking about revelation, it's nothing more but a shift of consciousness. So it's when the space that you're in and the solar system or group of lights or stars, whatever you want to call it, right, has moved into another area, moved into another space. So the vortex and the energy is very different. So the characteristics, there's different hierarchies, different governments, different alignments, different systems. So it's going to play out through us like different technology, different conversations, different emotional attachments, different thought processes, different ideas. And the better you know how to conduct yourself with this and rise above these energies, that's how you know you missed the shift. That's how you know you didn't miss the shift. That's how you know you risen above in revelations and you have been taken up with the great ones. Now, when you miss the shift and you still below with the heathens and the demons and Abaddon and all of them and hell and revelation and shit, and them trying to cast off Abaddon and shit, you know you in Babylon and shit, you know you still in that when you're trying to overly forcefully force your assertive or whatever your spirit taught you onto others, and it don't come across well, and it feels like whatever you're doing, people is being on deaf ears. That's how you know you missed the shift. You got a group of lights, old information, old concepts, old emotional attachments that don't mix well with the percentage of the lights and the angling that we up under right now. So you have missed the shift, or you still in hell in revelation. You see what I'm saying? So you need to understand that spirits, we're all on the same playing field. But whatever space you came from as a spirit, because your spirit is your space, that's gonna let you know what kind of information that you develop. And if you're coming from a high place, you would know, because your wisdom is coming from a high knowledgeable place, and you're able to look at things and perceive it and from a more neutral place. Now, if you're beneath under, you got many layers to see things. So you may only see things in one specific way, and that way is blocked by millions of other different perspectives of looking at it. So before you can even get to a higher nature, you find yourself arguing with all the lower natures on a pyramid scale that you on, to the point that you all appear to be demons from people up here. No matter what that spirit then taught you what you are. Flight bus, bitch. Goddamn air. Ee-hee. And that's motherfucking Revelations. Archangel Uriel on this motherfucker. Let me finish my motherfucking meditations.